It's day 9 of our Chaos to Control Mommy Challenge. So let's just dive in. And I want to recap real quick. So last week was our first week in the challenge, and last week we were doing all things mindset. This week we are doing all things boss habits. That is the title of this week's theme. So I hope you're dealing with that. I hope everyone is excited to hear about the boss habits. And you can kind of put in parentheses productivity, boss habits / productivity. So I feel like a lot of people really understand their need for productivity, really understand how important productivity is. Whereas with mindset, some people understand it, some people are like, yeah, whatever. But we have to start there. Like I've said, we have to start with our mindset, or all the things that we're going to do. If you haven't watched the videos last week, go back and watch those before you start doing these things. Because if you don't start with the mindset, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're not doing the things in the beginning that are going to change your trajectory in going from chaos to control. So this week is all, from yesterday until this Saturday, we're doing productivity, boss habits. Today, we're talking about schedules and routines. I felt like that was a great place to start. And so let me just share a little bit about myself and my family and why schedules and routines are important to me and my approach to them. So I have 5 small children. My oldest is 7, my youngest is 1. And I also do a lot of things aside from being a mom. And so this is absolutely essential to my survival and my ability to show up for my kids and for the other people that I serve, for you all in my business. And so I just highly recommend, if you don't have these things in place, this is a great place to start up leveling your life. So let me just kind of go ahead and explain kind of the difference between when I say schedules, when I say routines, because they're similar, but they're different. So when I say schedule, I mean a schedule is more rigid. Okay. So schedules are like at 9 o'clock we do this, at 10 o'clock we do this, at 10:30 we do this, and it's the same and it never changes, and you switch from one activity to the other. Okay, routines are more like we do this first, we do this next, we do this after that, and then we do this last every single time. But it doesn't typically, if you don't do it at the same time every day, it's not going to destroy the whole process. So I recommend, if this is something that you're newly trying to implement, start with routines, okay? And you may never even need a schedule. You may not be a schedule person. I'm really not. I mean, some things I do try to stick to times, and that works for me, but I don't schedule every half hour of every day. I don't schedule every moment of every day. I can't live like that, and that's okay. Some people can, some people can't. You do what serves you and your family. So when I talk about routines, I recommend with routines to really focus on morning routines, evening routines, and mealtime routines. And I shared some of those routines in my post this morning. Okay, so there's written, and if you're not watching this on YouTube or sorry, my nose is itching terribly. If you're watching this on YouTube or on my page on Facebook, just head on over to my group, Survival Mode to Successful Moms Creating Momentum, and join that group, because there's a lot of other things that are in this challenge that are only in that group. So please just go join my group, and I'd love to have you there. It's a really awesome, safe, and supportive community of moms that are on the same path you're on. And I do a lot of things in there. So I want to talk about how you can implement schedules and routines. And I want to talk about what they're going to do for your sanity, for your productivity, and why it's absolutely necessary if you want to accomplish more. And if you want to get out of survival mode and become successful, this is just, after you do the mindset work, this is really where you need to start next. And mindset work doesn't stop. Let me just go ahead and say that. Mindset work is not just like, okay, we did that last week, no, let's move on. No. The things that I taught you last week are things you're going to do every day for the rest of your life. It's a lifestyle, or you're going to slide backwards. So they're absolutely necessary. Just like you take a shower, just like you eat every day, do mindset work every day. Make it a part of your regimen. So let me talk about why routines are so important, okay? So let's, they will eliminate so much stress from your mornings and evenings, even if you just focus on morning and evening routines. And make it simple in the beginning. You can add to it later. Just try to get used to doing the things in order, okay? And you don't have to make it complicated. My morning routine is very simple. My evening routine is a little bit more complicated, but I have more time in the evenings than I do in the mornings. So I feel like they can eliminate so much stress in your life because there's less decisions to make. You don't have to sit thinking, okay, what am I going to do tonight? What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? No, your evening's already planned out because you do the same thing every evening. And yes, there's flexibility for if something comes up. There's so much more flexibility in routines than in schedules, by the way. And so I feel like that when we have less decisions and we're just going on autopilot, on muscle memory, the things we need to get done, and we don't have to decide, oh, do I have time to do this? We don't have to waste time trying to plan it out because we just do it every day. We just do it. It eliminates so much stress because decisions in and of themselves are stressful, and you're second guessing yourself, and you're wasting so much time making the decision that you're running out of the time to do the thing. So that's why routines serve you in multiple areas of your life. But let's just start with these. These apply to everyone. So if you want to see my routines that I shared this morning, just scroll up in my Facebook group. And, but I'll kind of recap a little bit. So one thing that I try to stick to in the evenings, I start with evenings. I recommend if you're up to implementing these routines, your own routines, start with evening and don't work on morning and evening at the same time. Start with evening, make that consistent for a few days, and then start slowly implementing your morning routine and give yourself a lot of grace. In the beginning, this is going to feel a little difficult, but as you do it and as you become consistent, it's not going to feel difficult at all. So don't give up. Don't quit at the beginning. Don't quit in the middle. Just see it through and be open to allowing yourself to make changes if you feel like this isn't working. Okay, I need to adjust this a little bit. That's totally fine. So one thing I like to stick to is having supper at the same time every day. That helps me to stay on track, and having bedtime for my kids and for myself at the same time. And that makes sure I get enough rest. That makes sure we're not eating too late, and that's messing up bedtime and bath time and all of that. But other things, the things before we eat supper, the things between supper and bedtime, those, yes, I have my routines, but they're not as set in stone as those two things. That's how I do it. So every evening we eat at 6. We try to eat as close to 6 as possible. Again, I give myself grace. If it's a little after 6, it's not that big a deal. And so, but I try, that's the goal. That's my intention. So we eat around the table every night, and that helps me as far as, not eating in the living room or somewhere where they're going to make a big mess. I have small children. So, and then they know what to do when they're done eating. They take their plates in the kitchen, and then we start all the things that have to be done before bedtime. So, my kids need to take their baths, cleaning up the kitchen. And again, I'm not super rigid on every little thing has to be perfect every night, but I do need to keep the dishes going and, things wiped off. So, because, it's an area that we use constantly. And then, all of the things that I do at night, like it's important to me that I read stories to my kids every night. And if I don't have that as an intention, as part of, okay, we're doing this 20 minutes before bedtime, it's not going to happen. Or it might happen, but not consistently. But there's other things that I'm like, it's not a non-negotiable. So, and I included all of the specifics in my post, and then my kids go off to bed. Bedtime used to be a lot more horrendous before I implemented these routines. Also, another hack that's really worked for getting small children to bed, that for my children anyway, is melatonin gummies. So just throwing that out there, that's not part of routines. If you're having a hard time getting your small children to sleep, that's something that really, really helped my kids, is giving them a gummy right before we read our stories, and then they are asleep as soon as they go to bed. They don't get up out of bed. That was a game changer in my family. And so, I usually stay up between 30 minutes and an hour after they go to bed, and then I go to bed. And, that's when I take my shower. That's when I do my journaling. And then I'm off to bed. And then, that it's important to me to get a lot of sleep too. That's something that I don't have an infant right now. I will soon, but, rest is important to our health. So I make sure I'm in bed in enough time to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And then, in the morning we wake up. I lay my kids' clothes out every night, so that helps mornings too. So I'm not looking for their clothes to wear First thing in the morning, I lay out my clothes, I get myself ready, I wake up my kids, they get themselves dressed. My morning routine is about an hour long, and I get myself dressed, full makeup on, hair fixed, kids dressed, backpacks, grabbing breakfast on the go, and out the door within an hour or less. 5 kids by myself. So, this can all be done. I'm still not sharing this with you to brag on myself. That's what works for me. I don't do any kind of reading or journaling in the morning because that kind of relaxes me. I need something to energize me in the morning. I'm really not a morning person. And so, my morning routines are very simple. It's just getting everyone ready and getting everyone out the door. Some people do a lot in the morning. Some people work out. Some people read their Bible. Some people do other things. I'm not one of those people, but I do a lot of that at night. And I have my order that I do things in. And if one thing kind of runs into the other thing, it's not a big deal. But there are certain things that I try to keep at the same time. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your routines. I want to hear your questions about routines. Hopefully I can answer those. So please just add those in the comments. And I also, if you have not gotten my free guide, Your Guide to Knowing Your Purpose, just comment me and I will send that to you. And also, just as one more quick announcement, I've opened up some free one-on-one coaching slots. They're called Discovery Coaching Calls. And if you'd like a free coaching call, just put in the comments coaching call or discovery or something like that. I'll send you a link so that you can schedule that. It is free. And I will see you guys tomorrow in our challenge. Tomorrow we're talking more on goal setting. We touched on that a little bit last week, and then we're going to wrap it up this week. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.